Me and my husband had an argument regarding our firstborn's education. My husband, 35M, and I of 32F, had a heated argument last night about our firstborn's education, and I'm feeling torn about how to move forward. This is a bit long, so I appreciate you taking the time to read through it. Our son, Ethan, is 5 years old and about to start kindergarten in the fall. Like many parents, we want the best for him, and we've been discussing his education ever since he was born. The problem is, my husband and I have very different views on what that should look like, and it all came to a head last night. To give some context, my husband grew up in a very strict, traditional household where academic achievement was the top priority. He was always at the top of his class and went on to attend an Ivy League school. He's very successful in his career and attributes much of his success to the rigorous education he received. Naturally, he wants the same for Ethan. I, on the other hand, had a very different upbringing. My parents were more laid back and encouraged me to explore my interests and passions. I did well in school, but my parents never pressured me to be the best. They valued creativity and personal growth over academic competition, and I believe that helped me develop into a well-rounded individual. I want Ethan to have a balanced education that nurtures his interests and allows him to grow at his own pace. Over the past few months, we've been looking at different schools for Ethan. My husband is set on sending him to a private school that has a reputation for academic excellence. The school is known for its rigorous curriculum and high expectations, and many of its graduates go on to top universities. My husband sees this as the perfect environment for Ethan to thrive. I'm more interested in a different school, one that emphasizes creativity, critical thinking, and social-emotional learning. This school has a more holistic approach to education, with smaller class sizes, a focus on project-based learning, and a supportive community atmosphere. I believe this would be a better fit for Ethan's personality, as he's a curious and sensitive child who loves exploring new ideas and asking questions. Last night, our conversation about schools turned into a full-blown argument. My husband accused me of not taking Ethan's future seriously and said that I'm setting him up for failure by not pushing him to excel academically. He argued that in today's competitive world, Ethan needs to be prepared to compete with the best, and that the private school would give him the best chance of success. I countered that I want Ethan to be happy and well-rounded, not just academically successful. I told my husband that I'm worried about the pressure Ethan would face at the private school and that I don't want him to feel like he has to be perfect all the time. I want him to enjoy learning and to have the freedom to pursue his passions, whatever they may be. The argument escalated quickly, with both of us raising our voices and saying things we probably shouldn't have. My husband accused me of being too soft and not preparing Ethan for the real world. I accused him of being too controlling and focused on achievements at the expense of our son's well-being. By the end of the argument, we were both frustrated and hurt, and we went to bed without resolving anything. Today, the tension between us is palpable. We're both still upset, and I don't know how to move forward. I want to do what's best for Ethan, but I'm worried that our different perspectives are going to create a rift in our marriage. I love my husband, and I know he wants the best for our son, but I'm struggling to find a middle ground that we can both agree on. I've been doing some research and reading up on different educational philosophies, but the more I read, the more confused I get. There are so many factors to consider, and I'm worried that if we make the wrong decision, it could have long-term consequences for Ethan. So, Reddit, I'm turning to you for advice. Has anyone else been in a similar situation? How did you navigate differences in parenting philosophies, especially when it comes to something as important as your child's education? Is there a way to find a compromise that works for both my husband and me, or are we destined to keep clashing over this issue? Any insights, experiences, or words of wisdom would be greatly appreciated.